All right. Hi, everybody. I'm super excited to be talking to some of the nature journaling teachers for the Wild Wonder Conference 2021. And just in case you haven't heard or don't know anything about this conference, let's start off with Roseann. Roseann Hanson is one of the main organizers behind all three of the events so far, or have you been involved in all of them?
Yes, and I'm still alive.
Yay, yay, Roseann. Well, maybe we could start off just hearing a little bit in a few sentences, like what is the main vision of Wild Wonder?
Oh, yes. So the main vision, which was Elizabeth Gallogly's and John Muir Law's idea, was to have a place where people can come together, all these people on the internet who've met through maybe the Nature Journaling Club, to come together and meet and learn and share and just push this to the next level. And 2019 was our first live. And then, of course, COVID. And that was actually a fabulous year for us online. We practically doubled the Nature Journal Club online. And then 2021, we've got to do it again online, which we're super excited about. So June 23rd to 27th.
Great. What do you, to start segueing into teachers, because I'm sure everybody watching in the live and people who are going to watch this afterwards are really curious about some of the teachers. And I've looked at the list. It's very exciting. What do you look for in nature journaling teachers and speakers when you're trying to find speakers and teachers for the event?
Oh, wow. Well, we had so many amazing applications. So we have applications, and then we also reach out for speakers, people like Richard Love, who, just amazing book. His, what is it? Last Child in Nature. Remind me, somebody.
Last Child in the Woods.
In the Woods. Thank you. That was a seminal work about the how we need to keep getting kids out in nature. They're on screens. Uh-oh, we're on a screen. Okay, wait, I didn't say that. Get them out in nature. That's what this is all about.
Yeah.
And we have like Drew Lanham, and then all the way down through our list of individual teachers. This year we have Amy Tan teaching a class, not a lecture. She's going to have an interactive class, which is amazing. She so inspired me to get my bird yard going. She's got this amazing Backyard Chronicles, so she's going to teach that. We've got Kim and Bethan and Yvea doing pencil miles, and Mattias up there. I don't know what order we're in, but yeah, the criteria are enthusiasm, something new to bring to the community. So everybody's got something special to bring.
Great. Well, on that note, let's do a round here with the instructors. And I think my screen is displaying everybody in the same way. So I'm seeing Mattias, Bethan, Yvea, Roseann, and Kim. So, and quite a few of you, I think all of you except Mattias have been on the Nature Journal show before, at least once. So that's really exciting to have you all here again. Let's just do a quick round. Everybody can see your names, so you might not have to say your name per se. But if you could just say, if you already know the name of your class that you're going to be teaching at Wild Wonder, say that. And if you could summarize your class in only 3 words, what would those words be? And think you can think like about it poetically. So Mattias is going to have a little bit less time than others to think about his answer. But what is the name of your class? And if you could just sort of freestyle 3 words to describe it.
Sure. So my class is called Field Sketching with Water-Soluble Ink. And let's see, 3 words. Definitely sketchy, minimalist, and I'm going to go with messy. Sketchy, minimalist, and messy, which are not usually things that I want to pitch to nature journalists, but in this case, it's like the perfect thing for my class. I want people to be able to be very free with it.
I like it.
You said a quick description as well?
Sure, yeah, go into it a little bit more.
Okay, so I have right here the pen that I'm going to be using for this class. You can't probably see it very well, but it says razor point. And the whole point for me of this class is, I'll show that pen again.
Yeah, go ahead.
The whole point of that class is to encourage people to use any materials that they have lying around to nature journal, and specifically to think of the water soluble pen, which is like the typical office pen, as a fantastic, simple tool for amazing nature journaling. And you don't need anything fancy. You don't need all these art supplies necessarily to do the basics. And I also like the idea of using a pen directly instead of using pencil to start and then moving to pen, because it may be a little more intimidating to beginners, but it's a lot more freeing in a lot of ways than feeling like you need to start out with a pencil sketch and then progress to pen. Ultimately, your nature journal is your own. And so, you can make as many marks on there as you want. And the pen, since it's permanent, it writes down, it sort of records everything. Even the preliminary attempts have something to teach you.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's kind of the idea behind my class.
Great. Yeah, I love it. That sounds great. I want to take everybody's classes already. Okay, moving on to Bethan. Can you describe the name of your class? And if you could summarize it in 3 words, and then maybe go on to a little bit longer of a description after that.
Yeah, so my class is going to be called Skyscapitos. And so we are going to, okay, 3 words. You always put everyone on the spot, Marley. It's so funny. Okay, I'm going to say playful, colorful, and quick. So Skyscapitos is a play on John Muir Laws's Landscapitos. So we're talking about little tiny landscapes. We can also do that with little tiny skyscapes. So we're going to do that. We're going to capture a whole lot of skies on a page all together using watercolor and maybe soluble pencil and color pencil. And we're going to talk about appropriate papers for different mediums, and we're just going to experiment and play and learn how to capture skyscapes in the journal for a whole bunch of different reasons.
Awesome. I feel like skies are often underappreciated or understudied. So really glad that you're doing that. Also because it's abiotic, and I feel like we're usually nature journaling thinking as nature as plants, animals, mushrooms, and we're forgetting, ice, water, air, gases, rocks, geology. So thanks for doing that, Bethan. All right, Yvea, how about you? The name of your class and 3 words and a little more.
So it's not exactly a class. It's more like the hangout. It's called Pencil Miles and Chill, like we have during the year and also last Wild Wonder. And my 3 words are social sharing hour. And I didn't stutter. That's great. So the idea with that is that people get to hang out. We get to chat with each other. There might be some breakout rooms. You can share what you've been journaling or what you're excited about with Wild Wonder. There might even be some polls or even like some fun sketching on the evening one. We'll see. So pretty much it's all of us getting together, having fun and chatting, and that's it.
And that's going to be happening every day during the event?
Every day, twice a day. The lunchroom will be a bit longer, and then the evening one will be a little bit shorter, but then that means that we might be able to play with different formats with them, so it should be really fun.
Cool.
In Yvea, we're going to try to get as many instructors as possible to pop in to the Pencil Miles and Social Hour to hang out with the students.
That would be
awesome.
fabulous.
That sounds super fun. Okay, Roseann, how about you?
So the name of mine is, it's already easy, right? 3 words, watercolor made simple. And I guess the 3 words I would pick that's not the title is no fear color. And that's kind of my mantra is everybody freaks out about, we can't do color. I don't know how to do watercolor. It's so hard. So what my goal is to free people from the fear and introduce a way that's quite simple and not a lot of stuff that you're juggling with, using some of Bethan's tips as well. She's a master colorist, and get people just having fun splashing color. It's like Mattias said, be messy, be crazy. It's all good. It's all lovely, and color makes us happy. So do kitties, so do cats, Yvea. I saw your cat there.
Nice. All right, thanks, Roseann. How about you, Kim? What is the name of your class, and if you could use 3 words and a little more to describe it?
Sure. So I'm leading a virtual field trip of coastal Alaska. So Roseann kind of worked with me on this, so I'm excited. I guess I would just describe, coastal Alaska as wild, adventurous, and dynamic. So bring all those with you and your journal. And I haven't decided exactly what to focus on. I'm a guide here, so there's so much to share. But I'd be curious if people in the chat have something in their mind about what they would want to journal in coastal Alaska, and plug that in the chat and I'll consider it.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Kim, for that segue. I'm just gonna, I try not to look at the chat too much because then I'm not making good virtual eye contact. So I'm gonna look at the chat now and just say hi to some of these people. Ella Green is tuning in from Germany. Loretta Armstrong is tuning in on Facebook. Jean R from New York. Hannah Seaman, Teresa Geisler, I think she's in Australia. Valerie Bayer is interested to learn more about the Razor Point pin. Heather Krellin from San Diego. Nature Sketches, Annetta. Amaya is on here. Valerie, Andrew Rosales. So a lot of people are tuning in. So thanks everybody for joining on the live, and for people who watch this as a recorded one also, thanks for joining in. Maybe let's go back to Roseann really quickly. To what do people need, going into the logistics a little bit more, what do people need to know about this event?
So after you get your tickets, which, by the way, we have 5 more days till the end of April. Early bird pricing is going to be over May 1st. It goes up $10. So after you get your ticket, you will attend the conference on Sked, which is an online conference platform. And it's just going to be amazing. So get all set up, get your stuff ready to go, and pick your classes that you want to attend. You could do every single one because they're not overlapping. So you can totally go crazy. But we do record them. So I get the recordings up within a few hours usually. And so, if you miss one or you want to go check Jack's early morning poetry, he always does inspirational poetry in the mornings. You can do that. So I would say just get your enthusiasm packed up and your notebook and ready to go, because you're going to be blown away.
Cool. And the date, can you mention the dates again on it?
Yes, June 23rd through the 27th. So all day long, every day. So we start early this time. We added, everyone's going to be happy. We added 15 minutes between every class. Yay!
That was rough last year a little bit.
Oh, tell me about it. Like when Jack, is going on and on in his class, and I'm like, Jack, you got to stop. We got to start the next class. We're like pulling him off. No. So, we don't have to do that this year, except we're going to tell Jack that he doesn't have 15 extra minutes, right? No, nobody tell Jack. Jack's not listening to this, right? So Yvea's laughing because we've all been there. So we'll have an extra amount of time that you can do that. So
okay, great. Well, let's go back to do another round with the teachers here. So this time, this is the prompt. Pretend like it's June, and I just finished your class on Zoom, and we're gonna go in the same order again. So I just got out of your class. What am I feeling as I finish your class? Like, I have 15 minutes now before my next class. What am I feeling? Maybe you could describe what I'm actually going to do with that feeling also. So play with that a little bit, starting with Mattias.
Yeah, that one doesn't feel hard. I'm hoping people will feel liberated and excited to play with black and white, or just like one color. If they have a green office pen that they love, maybe now they'll consider using it not just for writing and for grading papers or something, but also for sketching, and they'll be excited to use those 15 minutes before the next class to do a couple of quick sketches.
Awesome. Great. Okay, how about you, Bethan? What am I feeling? I just got out of your class, Skyscapitos.
Yes, well, we're going to be looking at the sky, and the sky always makes me feel light and lifted and expansive. So that's what I hope you feel.
Awesome. Nice. Yvea?
So when you leave Pencil Miles and Chill, you're going to be wishing that you had a virtual phone book of everybody you just met's contact information so you can talk to them. You're going to be like, how can I start my own nature journal chapter locally if one doesn't already exist? And you're going to be all like, why don't we have meetings like this every day more often? I love this community. So then you'll want to come back.
Nice. Great. All right, Roseann.
So I'm hoping people will go, oh my gosh, I can totally do this. I can paint anything I want with 3 colors only.
Nice. All right, Kim.
Gosh, I guess I would hope that you feel like this sense of just drama and enrichment that you get when you see this incredible coastal landscape. So that feeling of like I just experienced like natural wonders, incredible natural wonders.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm just gonna, since you did pose a question for the audience, I'm just gonna share a little bit of response. So Valerie is excited about coastal Alaska. Jean is also excited about coastal Alaska, and she also went into a little bit more depth answering your question here.
Really interesting. It reminds me to not just focus on like the natural history of the subject or the climate dynamics of the subject, but to also really share it from an artist's perspective, you know, which is something I've spent time gaining intimacy with. So thank you. I will definitely keep those like color schemes and things like that in mind.
Great. Well, thanks everybody from the audience for sharing some questions and participating. And for everybody who watches this after it's a recorded version too. Oh, we've got Wendy in the UK is tuning in, and we also have Sandra Vet Garcia is tuning in, and let me just share this one here because this always it's always nice to hear about people who, and I think that's where I met Sandra originally. It's always cool to hear from people who've been to past ones. Awesome. Okay, so the next question to go around for our panelists today is if you could only impart one thing to your students, like if they didn't have the capacity to remember multiple things, not that that is ever an issue, but if you could only like give them and focus on one lesson to teach or one skill or one attitude, what is that one thing that you would want to give them in this specific class? Starting with Mattias and going around.
I think for me, it's something that has been reiterated a lot in nature journaling, which is just distilled. Don't be afraid of making marks. Don't be afraid of using paper and taking risks, especially with a pen. A lot, like I was saying earlier, a lot of people might have trepidation about using a pen because it makes a permanent bold mark. But I'm hoping through my class, people will feel a lot more free and liberated after that and be able to just, use up lots of pages, not be afraid to just go for it and try again and again and again.
Awesome. Nice. All right, Bethan, how about you?
Yeah, I was going to say something similar with Skyscapitos, in that I just want people to give it a go, because obviously, like you said, we're always like focused on the biotic features in our nature journal, and maybe the sky is something you haven't tried or that you've been intimidated to try. And so that's something that I just want to do in the class, is to just free up and let go and just give it a go, give it a try, see what happens, and then learn from those. So it's about iterating and then it's about doing something and then iterating from there. Just go ahead and see what happens, learn from what you're doing, and then be able to build confidence and have fun.
Great. How about you, Yvea? If there was one thing that you could impart in the participants in the Pencil Miles and Chills session, like what would you want them to take away?
What I'd want them to take away is that whether in your art or in your nature journaling or in your life experiences, whether it's your passions or your growth edge, that you're not alone, and to go easy on yourself. You've got a lot of people who can share those things with you. So you're not alone whatever that is. And also when you see somebody doing something different, then you can learn from each other because you each have your own strengths. So to remember that.
Cool. Wow. Really cool. Roseann?
I would just really want to see people learning to love their work, love themselves, no matter what. So similar to what Yvea said, but teaching us not to judge harshly is one of the hardest things we do. When we look at the page, I want people to go, oh, I love what I just did. I'm so happy.
Kim?
I guess what I hope to impart is some confidence to be able to look at your surroundings and look at the landscape and have an awareness of how it has changed over time or will change. Like, what are the dynamics behind it? And can you use your keen senses in this moment to see indications of past occurrences or trends that are happening? So not beyond just seeing something as stationary, which is very much a part of illustrating something, but to have that inquiry and be able to, think about how things came to be and the direction that they're heading.
Wow, very cool. So just gonna share this comment here from Amaya. She wants to take all of the classes, and she probably will. So Amaya has been on the show before and is awesome nature journaler. Okay, so let's do let's dive in to sort of a little bit more about each person's background. So you're nature journaling teachers now and organizers and all of this stuff. But I think sometimes people like to know like how you got to that place. So let's go around and just answer the question maybe in a few sentences, trying to simplify it into a few sentences. I know this could go on forever with some of us, but how did you get started with nature journaling? Starting with Mattias.
All right. So I have to do a little shout out to this. It's an environmental foundation in Maine called Chewonki. Probably not many people have heard of it. It's a mix of high school, summer camp for boys and girls, wilderness trips, an animal rehabilitation center, and an educational farm. So it's all that kind of put together into this one peninsula on the coast of Maine. And I had the great fortune of getting to attend as a high school student for a semester when I was in high school. And then later I taught there for 2 years teaching art. But they were pretty much my first introduction to the idea of going outside and documenting observations in nature and learning through that process. And it's stuck with me since. And it's basically been the thread that is my career. And so, yeah, that's when I started nature journaling. It was through this science class that had a very kind of experiential ed component to it, where we did a lot of art. And I realized that at that point, art and science are really not that different. We use a lot of the same skills in trying to do both of those disciplines. So that was my beginning. I forget if there was more to your question, or was it just the beginning?
No, that was great. And may we hope that many more high school students get exposed to that way of seeing things, because I know I sure did not.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Mattias. How about you, Bethan? How did you get started with nature journaling?
It's a bit of a long story, so I'll keep it short. But so when I was young, when I was at university, I wasn't sure if I wanted to study art or science. And I tried an art degree and it just was not right for me. So I went traveling, and then I came home and I started studying ecology and conservation biology. And at the end of that degree, I thought, I don't really want to be a research scientist. I wanted to be connected with the field of like helping people become more pro-environmental. And I studied then at master's level environmental education. And after that, I still wasn't quite sure what it was going to be, the job. Now we're in a sort of place in the world where we can create our own jobs. We can become freelancers and create our own jobs. Roseann would know this very well. And so I just started doing nature journaling. I came to it. I was in a place of illness, and I was doing it as a way to connect be calm. It was very much for me. The beginning of it was a way to be still, be calm, and help my body heal in this place. And then I just started putting my work out there online, and then been an absolute life-changing, heart-opening experience. And I'm just so grateful for nature journaling. It's really changed. It lifted me out of a place that I was struggling in, and yeah, it's been amazing.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And I think if anyone in the anyone here in the live viewing of this has experiences of nature journaling being therapeutic for you, because that's something that we sometimes forget to talk about, please post if you're willing to share any of your own experiences of the therapeutic benefits of nature journaling. All right, how about you, Yvea? How did you get started with nature journaling?
So with nature journaling, and also I just want to say thank you for sharing that, Bethan. I can relate to you a lot, so thank you for that. So where I got started with nature journaling, taking classes first with you, Marley, and then with Jack. And for me, that kind of tied into some interests that I already had. I realized that was the perfect way to do my habitat restoration work in a more, it's hard to explain, but it fit really well with my habitat restoration work, and it fit really well with my gardening work. So I just got really lucky that it was a good match. I started with the restoration work when I was about 13, and then the gardening work through college, again with you, Marley. So it's you. You're the one who got me inspired. Thanks.
Yay. Yay. And I love that. That's one of those domino effect things. Yvea is definitely inspiring tons of people. So that's really cool. All right. If you have experiences of how nature journaling can be combined with gardening or restoration, post those in the comments, because that's another one that is a crossover that we don't hear about that much or enough yet. All right. How about you, Roseann? How did you get started with nature journaling?
A little bit different than everybody else. I've been journaling since I was maybe 12. So that's like, 40 years. So, and I really got serious about the nature part in college when I studied ecology and evolutionary biology. And I really adopted the Grinnell method, which is a very scientific method. No art really to speak of. And then in the last 5 years, I started really, I've always been creative and a visual artist. I'm a writer, I'm an explorer. I've done a lot of different things in my life, as Bethan learned. I don't do anything like linear at all. So I taught myself to sketch using John Muir Law's books. That was a major change for me. And one of the things that inspired me was I'm a perfectionist. I'm a scientist. I have a science background, and I wanted everything to be perfect. And I hated what I was doing for a while. It almost stopped me journaling. And it was that experience of breaking through that made me want to teach and share with people, like, how do you get over that? How do you shut up that voice of, oh, that's not good enough. I want all my work to look like Mattias's. But Mattias is, we got to say, and Kim, you guys have studied for years in art school, right? You have formal degrees that, I kind of slogged along doing stick figures for a long time. And so you inspired me. So I really, really appreciate that.
All right, thanks for sharing, Roseann. I just wanted to mention too, last time I interviewed Roseann, I think she was the first one who was the guinea pig for doing a live episode of the Nature Journal show, and there was an actual lightning. We do the lightning round in the Nature Journal show,
and
there was an actual lightning storm that happened during the interview, the live interview, and we lost Roseann. Speaking of losing people, I think we might have lost Yvea. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned the lightning storm.
You did as soon as you said that.
I know. Yeah.
Oh my God. So, and Marley, after that when I got zotted, I run all my equipment now on uninterruptible power supplies because it's happened again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there she is.
Yay. Right when I mentioned the thing about the lightning, Yvea got zapped off.
Really sorry. I don't know what.
Yeah, no worries. It's okay. All right, so Kim, you're up last to describe how you got started with nature journaling.
Yeah, my story is actually kind of similar in that, like, I'd say I first really started doing it in college as part of courses, like a botany course. We had Claire Leslie Walker's book, and just kept doing it through all. I went to like an integrated school, so I just kept doing that all through my college. But and like Roseann, kind of, I really cared about making it very, very neat, and did the like very technical, very, very careful. But actually didn't hate it. I liked it, and I think that was like what kept me going and doing it. And then since then, because of you all and this amazing community, I have learned so much more about how of a human experience it is, and how to loosen up and put your emotion and capture those brief moments. So I just feel like, you mentioned dominoes. I just like feel like right in there with all of you dominoes. I love it. But I have to say that I look back now because I didn't realize it at the time, but my first nature journal was, I must have been like 8 or something, and we had this pond, and I would go catch water bugs out of the pond with my brother, but we didn't have any guides or anything. So I made my own guide with drawings. I made up my own names. I counted them all. I put them, and I think I just left it outside with all of the Tupperware and nets all summer until finally it got rained on. And so I don't have it, and it never was a lasting thing. And I look back now and I'm just like, oh, if I could only have that now and see like what. So it came because it was like, it was so functional. Like, this method and process of organizing thought just like flowed out of me at that time, which I think is something about like the pure nature of like why this is such a valid practice.
You're muted, Marley.
Thanks. I think I want to do a show of all, like, before they knew what, like, I don't know the name yet exactly, but like before they knew it was nature journaling, and like all of these stories of people are like, they're doing this thing, and then they like see like Jack's book or Claire Walker Leslie's, and they're like, oh, I'm nature journaling. So it's sort of like that independent invention of nature journaling. So that's super cool. I'm gonna give some love to the people watching live. There's some great posts here. First, I'm going to share Sandra's, because related to the question we were just tackling. Thank you, Sandra. And then also, don't know the name of this Facebook user, but an example of nature journaling providing some therapeutic effect. And thank you for sharing your personal story. And that's really cool about using the sort of more earth-based materials. And then Loretta also is just really excited. Oops, no, this one. Loretta is just feeling inspired by people here. So, ooh, and this is a great comment from Chris Miller on YouTube. Let me share this one here. So let's do this as we're going to use Chris Miller as an example for the next question and go around. If you had someone who's brand new to nature journaling, like Chris Miller, literally on their first page, come to your class, Wild Wonder class, and maybe this would be a good time to mention the name of your class again for people who just tuned in. So starting with Mattias and going around, if you had someone such as Chris, who's a brand new nature journaler, show up for your class at Wild Wonder, what would you tell them, or what inspiration or ideas would you want to give them?
Yeah, so let me reiterate, my class is called Field Sketching with Water-Soluble Ink, which is basically a class about using an office pen to do all of your nature journaling, or at least one part of your nature journaling. And I think in a lot of ways, my class is really geared towards beginners, because it's meant to help you get over that hurdle of like making the first marks on your page and not being afraid to just kind of go for it. And so, yeah, I think, I'm hoping that it will be very helpful in that way. And I want beginners especially to feel very liberated about trying different types of styles in nature journaling. It doesn't all have to be, perfectly rendered, and sometimes even proportions aren't the important thing. Sometimes you're going for something else. So just sort of allowing people to experience different ways of rendering stuff and making marks and feeling comfortable with that as an opener to the rest of their journal. That's kind of
great. Yeah, that sounds great. And so I think this idea of like everybody being like this sort of like mindset aspect is definitely something that feels like it permeates all of pretty much all of nature journaling and most of the instructors. But just to be a little bit more specific, maybe with you, Bethan, for if you were to have someone brand new in your class, how would you maybe like adapt things, or besides encouraging them that that everybody can do nature journaling and to not be afraid of drawing? What else would you sort of try to do to help someone who's brand new at nature journaling in your class?
Well, okay, so to be specific, I was going to say that it's all about play. It's all about like choosing,
right.
Realizing that your journal is for you, but specifically for a beginner. So my class is going to be called Sky Scapitos. We're going to be playing with capturing the sky, and it will be hard in the setup in that it will be a class, me talking to the class, but I hope to allow people specifically to figure out how to use the colors that they already have in their palette. So I don't want people to have to stress about this specific color, but I'm hoping to give some tips on using the colors that you have and adapting them for capturing the sky. So a beginner might have a beginner's palette. You can get these really simple kids watercolor sets, or just a handful of color pencils, and I hope to help beginners understand that those materials are fine and how to adapt those for capturing the sky in the nature journal.
Great. Cool. Very cool. How about you, Yvea? If you had beginners or people who are brand new, first page of their nature journal show up to Pencil Miles and Chill, how would you adapt, or how would you welcome them, or what would you start with?
Well, I'd remind people that Pencil Miles pretty much means to do as much as you can, and to not worry so much about quality, to start with quantity, because as Jack says, the more you do it, the better you get at, or the more you do it, then the more you do it. So work on first making it into a habit, and don't worry so much about what it looks like. Just doodle while you're just doing something absentmindedly. Draw everywhere. Sketch on napkins. Do what's fun, and also, if you're on your first page, do a ton of pages, because then when you look back, you'll be like, oh my God, that was where I began, and look where I am now. And so there's something kind of nice about looking back on your first journal entries, because then it's just like, look where I came from. So just play with it and have fun with it. That's what I would recommend.
Cool. Yeah, I love that. The quantity over quality seems so paradoxical to say, but is so powerful. How about you, Roseann? Yvea's got one more thing. Go ahead, Yvea. One more thing.
Also, if I had time, I'd recommend that they learn more about Fearless Friday, which, speaking of that interview, that was something that you two, Marley and Roseann, started on this Nature Journal show. Remember
You
Fearless
started
Friday?
it.
I helped, but you two started it. Anyways, and Eli named it. But I would say to remember Fearless Friday, and I would encourage as many people who wanted to show the newcomer their Fearless Friday pages, so that you can see that it really is all Pencil Miles, and doesn't have to look picture perfect with words or pictures or numbers. So I would tell them about that too. Okay, sorry. Thank you.
No, that's really good to point out, because in case Chris, thanks for inspiring this question, Chris, but some people might not have noticed this already, but because of the way that social media works, those pages that have like a certain appearance to them, nature journal pages, tend to be seen more, and there's thousands of people nature journaling, but the ones that are seen are a certain type, and that doesn't necessarily represent nature journaling accurately, or represent all the different things that people are doing. And it also doesn't necessarily mean that was like the most fun experience. Like some of my pages that might do better on Instagram or Facebook, that's not necessarily those pages that I had the most fun or learned the most from. So really important to point that out. I've got a good quote, a good comment here from Eli, but let's keep going here with this question. Roseann, for your for your color class, what would you do? How would you adapt or encourage or modify your class to to help beginners?
I would want to, I will always tell people to park that inner critic at the door. But Marley, you kind of stole what I was going to say, not stole, but I want to say it again, is that humans are visual animals. We're predators, and our vision is our primary interface with the world. And that's why we really love to see the bright, beautiful pictures. And that's why, you know, the bright, beautiful pages get 400 likes. And when I post something that's only the written word, I get like 4 likes, you know, and I'm like, But that's okay. So what I want to tell people is that's human nature to want to be visually beautiful. That's really okay. But it takes pencil miles. I'm going to keep going around the clock. It takes pencil miles to get where your watercolor is going to be pleasing enough to you. That's fine. Just have fun. I hope to give tools that will let people get away from the tyranny of perfection and just have fun. And that's my main goal. And one more quick thing, what Yvea said too, there is a real scientific reason behind pencil miles. The brain grows neural pathways the more you challenge it. So the harder the stuff you do, so watercolor, it's hard. It's not easy. Mattias can tell you, everybody here can tell you, it's not easy. The more you push your brain, the more your brain grows, the more your brain will absorb these things and the better you'll get. And that is an absolute fact. So pencil miles works, color miles work.
Nice. Thanks, Roseann. And how about you, Kim, for your class? And can you say the name of your class again, and then how you would bring in and welcome and make that class great for beginners? Because I really do think like that actually the nature journaling community has a very large element of people who are very new at it. So how would you make your class work for those people?
Yeah, thank you. So it's a virtual field trip of coastal Alaska. And I think this is really fitting because when I really started nature journaling in earnest as a personal practice, it was often just on like my excursions, like when I would go out and about and camp and stuff, and I would bring this journal. And it's only later that I incorporated it into my everyday life, thankfully. But I had a friend tell me a great piece of advice, and that was if you frame your mind as that what you're putting on your page is the thing that you want to remember about your experience. So part of that, like sometimes when I'd go on trips, I'd only bring just a little tiny pocket journal, and all I'd write in it was the date, where we went, how many miles, what the weather was like, and any significant things that happened. And I can't tell you how valuable that has been in years looking back. I'm like, I am so grateful I noted this down. And it's not like it's a beautiful, creative piece of writing or poetry. And if you think of your drawings in a similar way, of that they're not necessarily meant to be this perfect rendition of what it was that you saw, they're more about, can you revisit that place again? So when I take you to coastal Alaska, like I hope that you will be putting down things that will help you remember your experience here. And thank you so much, Roseann, for what you said, because I agree. The beauty of the landscape is this captivating thing that is the allure, like for me. And it's like this quest to mimic, like, can I evoke in the viewer that same mood or that same like feeling or impression or technical detail that I experienced, and sort of draw them to that place where I was observing. And in that way, I would suggest to a beginner, if we're out on the coastal Alaskan landscape and there's a lot to take in, and the landscapes are huge and the birds are swirling around and, you know, the salmon are jumping, to create you can use your drawing to create an emphasis on the intriguing aspect that you've experienced, that you drawing attention to. So landscapes is just, to me, it's like all about triaging the information. So I'm trying to draw your attention to this little flower that's in this complex landscape. I'm going to put a lot of detail and color in that flower, and I can just loosely imply the rest of this landscape. And now, unlike a photo that captured uniformly everything, I have brought you into this particular point of interest.
Cool. That would be a great thing. If I had learned that as a beginner in art, that would have saved me a lot of time. I'm going to share this great comment from our friend Eli. Yay, Eli. All right, so sort of on this note, let's go around, and we're getting close to time here. I know some people are going to have to go at the hour, so could drag us. I mean, this is gone by really, the 45 minutes has gone by really quickly. I can't believe it's been 45 minutes, and I feel like we could talk for a long time, and I have all this, like, these little drawing ideas that I had. But first, just because I think this is some of the information that will be most useful for people who are trying to decide about going to Wild Wonder and whatnot. And if you're just joining in, I'll put up the link so that you can find out more. It's on John Muirlaw's website. But let's go around and sort of on this, similar to what Eli mentioned, let's go around. Raise your hand if you've been to a Wild Wonder before, or a virtual one. So everybody, okay, everybody has. So that's good. So let's just share, maybe try to think of like an experience, a memorable experience that you had, whether it was the virtual one last year or the in-person one the year before, just like a memorable experience, sort of, along these lines of Eli's share about his experience. What was something that stood out from one of the previous years? And then just to actually, yeah, we'll go through our same order again. That way everyone has like this time to drink water and rest their vocal cords. So starting with Mattias, an experience, a memorable experience from a previous Wild Wonder Nature Journaling Conference.
Okay, so I'll do two really quick ones. So the first one, just to make a plug for the in-person conferences once we're able to resume them, they're so wonderful, is that there was this whale watching trip in Monterey, and it was right before the conference started. I mean, it was technically part of the conference. It was the very beginning. It's so great because we all got up so early, and it was really cold, but we met all these wonderful other nature journalers, and then we got to see this fantastic wildlife, just like something out of National Geographic, and it was really challenging to sketch because they're moving and they're alive and they're kind of in the distance and stuff. But it was just such a fun live bonding experience, and that was pretty much my introduction to nature journaling conferences. And then the online ones, as a teacher, it was really surprising and neat just to see how useful the content that I was giving to people was. And I got that through the feedback I received during and after my lesson. And it's not that I didn't think my content was going to be useful. It's more just it far exceeded what I expected it could be. And it was so nice to hear from people that they were feeling encouraged by what I was talking about. And it just makes me realize just how supportive this community is and how much we have to learn from each other. Even people that feel like they may not have as much experience, I guarantee you have something to teach someone else. And so I just love that there are so many formats, conferences, social media, these videos, et cetera, where people in this community can share their experiences with each other and just teach that way. Nice. So.
Yeah, the in-person one and the whale watching trip was memorable for me also because we were staying in the same Airbnb, and when you had to wake up to go for that whale watching one, I was waking up too. So yeah. I definitely remember that. I didn't go on it because I get really seasick, but I need to work on that. All right, moving on to Bethan. What was a memorable thing from a past nature journaling conference?
Well, so last year was my first one. I didn't get to the 2019 one. But I found the format amazing. And the thing that I found amazing was that there was this incredible buzz, and to be in a class knowing that there's hundreds and hundreds of other people there watching the same thing, having the same experience, that just felt like a real exciting buzz. And the other thing that I took away was that it seemed like each class, there was something like an aha moment. And I had one in your class, Mattias, that so you did journaling on toned paper, and you talked about making a grayscale and putting your paper in the scale, figuring out from dark to light where your paper sat. And that was like, yes. And that was one of my takeaway, like, yes, I've got this. And now I use that on toned paper again and again. And so, yeah, just going to the classes and having this aha moment in each class was really, really fun.
Nice. All right, let's go to Yvea next.
So, I went to the 2019 live one, and one memorable thing was that a couple of different ones, we went through the Asilomar Dunes, first with Mark Simmons and you, Marley, and then the second time with Emily Underwood. And so the first time it was about sketchnoting, and I remember being excited because I got to actually draw people in my nature journal for the first time. And I'm still kind of in shock I managed to do that without making people look like ridiculous. And so then after that, Emily Underwood had taken us out like a couple days later, but it was a different way of capturing the dunes. You had to do a side profile of like the high and low points as if you were walking in a straight line, like a line point transect monitoring. And I remember it challenged me so much that it's become something that I want to get better at doing still. So I appreciated that you could go on 2 different trips and have a completely different way of looking at the dunes. And the second one for me that really, for the second conference, I was leading the I was leading the pencil miles and chill sessions. And what stood out to me was that in one of the meetings, I went into one of the breakout rooms to hear what the participants were talking about. And this particular group were talking about how there was one person I remember who lived way in a rural area and was talking about the way that he didn't have a lot of people nearby to create a nature journal community. And there were some other people in the group who were talking about how they couldn't have made it in person because of finances. And I think one person for disabilities. And just, I was sitting there listening to that conversation, and it really struck me really, really, really hard. About accessibility. And ever since then, I've been wanting to find a way to make, all of this more accessible to people and help people, because hopefully we'll still remain connected online even when things open up after the pandemic. But I'd also like to find a way to help more people open up chapters close to where they live so that we'll have in-person support as well. So that just stuck with me on a whole community-wide level beyond even Wild Wonder. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Yvea. Roseann, maybe you could say, share a piece from a previous experience. Maybe you could share something from the other end of the conference, from all the work that goes into it, just to give people sort of a little bit of the behind the scenes, if you're comfortable, from one of these past years,
Well, I have to say, yes, I can. I was caught out January 2020. I'm actually, I can verify this with other colleagues. I was quoted as saying at a meeting for the Desert Laboratory on Tumamoc Hill, where I'm the art and science program coordinator, we were being pushed to do online classes, January 2020. And I said, quote, no, we don't teach nature journaling online. So we don't do that. It's about being in nature. And then COVID and guess what? I had to learn how to go online. So it changed my life. And then Beth and I decided to, just go for it, do the conference online. I have taught 2,000 people the last year online. I want to say, just real quick, Yvea, yes, I've had people come to me and say, I could never do this. I'm disabled. I can't go walk around sand dunes. I can't go hike up that trail. I can barely even get out into a park. Thank you so much for doing this online. So that was a major thing for an organizer when people came back and verified that. So yes, we are going to continue doing Wild Wonder online and in person 2 a year because of that. So, and then from a organizer standpoint, it's definitely meeting the people, whether in person or online, the connection. And I wouldn't downgrade online connections anymore. It's expanded my life in ways that I never really appreciated. So that's as specific as I can get. I think we're running out of time. We've got to give Kim time to talk. So.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for sharing that, Roseann. I think that's really important for people to know about, and a funny story as well. All right, Kim, how about you?
Sure. I just want to second everything that everyone said. I wish we could talk forever. I actually have a really distinctive moment that surprised me in Wild Wonder, and it was during John Muir Law's colored pencil mixing lesson. And I don't know if it was because it was several days in at that point, and maybe it was like first thing in the morning, which is when I'm at my best or whatever. But I was just sitting, like, I'm just sitting there, like, blending these colors together. And I don't know if he was talking or not, because it just like the world just like melted away, and I just entered this incredibly deep flow state that was like almost like nirvana or something. I don't know. I just like, I don't think I'd ever, like, after it was done, I was just like, what just happened? Like, and, I think it did have to do with the fact that it was I had been, engaged with this for several days leading up to like this point, and then just everything converged. And as we all know, Jack's such a fabulous teacher, and he's so good at imparting that sense of like calm and in the moment and flow and everything like that. So it was just this really shining moment. Yeah. And then just that connectivity that everybody emphasized, knowing that, you may be alone here in your home, but you're part of something bigger, way bigger. And there's just this energy.
Absolutely. Wow, that is super cool. Well, I just want to let everybody know that Bethan might have to disappear any moment here. So maybe, Bethan, you could share again your class name, because I think there might be people who are watching the live who maybe missed earlier on the name of your class, and if you could use your 3 words to describe it.
Sure thing. So my class is going to be called Skyscapitos, and I said it's going to be playful, colorful, and quick. And so I just want to get everyone splashing paint around, scribbling with pencil, capturing the sky quickly and with joy. Yay. I'm so excited. I seriously can't wait. This has been so fun to get the buzz going, and it's amazing. It's an amazing thing that's being created here. Hats off to Roseann and Beth and Jack and everyone, and I'm so excited to be part of it.
Great, thanks, Bethan. So if you have to go, that's fine. Bethan's in New Zealand in a hotel right now.
I do. Take care. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Gotta check out. Bye.
All right, let's do for our next question to go around, and I think maybe this will be our last one here, unless anyone in the comments posts a question.
Hey, wait, I have a suggestion.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it.
I just do want to mention that Marley's going to appear as well at Wild Wonder on a panel about community. The panel is going to be a group of people talking about how to start your own nature journal club, but also how to use these communities to enhance your own practice. So look for Marley. Yeah, Marley's going to have a wonderful session with Brian Higginbotham, and we don't know who else yet, but
awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Okay, let's see if anyone in the comments. Oh, I see people are sharing some of their moments. So let's look at some of these because they're fun. Loretta met Tony Foster. That was a memorable moment. And Amaya has one. I think I met Amaya for the first time in 2019 at one of the in-person events. And then we also have Valerie has one. It looks like her spell check might have turned Wild Wonder into Wood Wonder. Thanks for sharing that. And so my last question here is if you could summarize, just to give sort of people a feeling of like, you all seem like really nice people and nice teachers and all of that. But just to give people like more of an idea about your teaching style. And I know for like Yvea, it's not necessarily, it's more of like a facilitation style because Pencil Miles and Chill isn't necessarily like a traditional class. But if you could summarize your teaching style in one word and one hand gesture, what would it be? Starting with Mattias.
Yikes. My teaching style in one word and hand gesture. I think it would be I keep going back to the type of work that I want people to be doing, but I guess it kind of describes my teaching style a little bit, which is messy, just like a little everywhere.
All right.
And
is that your hand gesture?
Like this?
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
Has to go with it, right? So, yeah, I like people to be really engaged in the class and less like teacher students. I want it to be kind of like them asking questions and me helping out, or student teaching each other, that kind of thing. So
Great.
Messy. We're gonna go with that.
Awesome. I love your hand gesture on that one too. All right, how about you, Kim?
Yeah, kind of tough because I mean, it's like we have like who we are and who we want to be, and I think that sometimes those are different things. But I think I would maybe say my teaching style is kind of constructive. I tend to lean a little more on the technical kind of. I like to provide, like Mattias was saying, like those little like tips that are like, oh, boom, I just saw like an advancement or whatever. That tends to be my style. What was the other question? Was there one?
A hand gesture. All right, I like it. All right, how about you, Yvea?
Well, before I answer that, I want to say after Roseann goes, I have a question for you, Marley. But okay. So my teaching style tends to be overly energetic. Wait.
Nice. I like how you added mood to your answer as well. All right, how about you, Roseann? What about how would you summarize your teaching style?
Oh, I would say empowering. I empower people. Go for it. Do it.
Nice. Great. Awesome. Well, this has been super fun. And for everybody watching in the live, thanks for joining in. Thanks to Shirley, Valerie, Amaya, Eli, Loretta, all of these people, Sandra, Jean, all these people joining in. Yvea's not letting me get away with this one. Thanks, everybody. Chris, Miller. All right, Yvea, what's your question for me?
Sorry, interviewer, but my question for you is, what moments really stuck out to you in previous Wild Wonders?
Yeah, I think the first one that was in person, there was a pre-conference like teacher. There was like a teacher workshop that Jack led in this like lab at the Monterey Bay Aquarium, and there was just like aquariums all on the walls with like abalone babies and then there was like these taxidermied fish and stuff like that, and things were like gurgling. And there was all these people. There was like people from Australia, people from all over the US. And then Jack obviously was like super energetic and talking, and it was just really, and then we also got a free pass to be in the Monterey Bay Aquarium, one of my favorite places to nature journal. And so that was awesome. And then also just meeting people in person at that one. And then last year, just like looking at how many classes there are, and for the online one, just being able to sign up for so many classes. Those are definitely the moments that I remember.
And Marley, we are doing the teachers conference again as well. So please, everybody stay tuned for that. We don't have the details yet, but it's the 2 days before. So.
And also, could you just kind of do an overview again of early bird registration, the information people need to know for the conference?
Yeah, for the next 5 days, we still have early bird registration, $85 for everything. And then that includes access to all the recordings until April 2022. And so if you can't get through it in that amount of time, forget it. So then after that, it's $95. And then we also, for the first time this year, we have the Pay It Forward ticket. So if you can afford to pay a little extra, what you do is you pay $245, you get a special gift, a journal and some other goodies, and you're paying for someone else who can't afford to go. So that's
super cool.
We've had tons of people do that one, which we're so pleased about. That's our community.
Awesome. Yay. That is,
and
that is
we
really
also have
cool.
scholarships, so you can apply for that scholarship too. So please
Great.
let us know. It's all on the website.
Okay, and I'm just going to put that one up here one more time. And just so everybody knows, I am trying to talk to as many of the instructors as possible before the event. So there's going to be more of these panels scheduled. So stay tuned for that. I'm not totally sure when the next one is going to be and who's going to be in it, but there are more coming soon. Well, thank you all so much for your time today, and thanks everybody that joined in. I mentioned a lot of you, Suzanne, Eli, Andrew, Jean, Chris. It's been great, and have a great day. Maybe go out with some of this energy that you now have and do some nature journaling on your own. All right, bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
Marley.
Bye.
Thanks, Marley. Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.